All right, we are live. Welcome, everyone. Did you sail this week? Was it windy? Where are you? Just getting set up here for our July 11th stream. I think we got everything set up and going. All right. So, if you're just joining us, let us know. Where did you sail? Did you sail? Was it a windy wink? Where are you? What's up? And how does the forecast look? Are you going to sail this week? I just got back. I was in Italy with the family. Not much windsurfing there. It was a family trip. But I'm getting set up in Hamburg now for my Tenerife trip that's coming up. I fly out in about 10 days. And I'm going to do some coaching there starting in August 1st through 8th. I'm really looking forward to that. I've got a lot to do to prepare for it. The in-person coaching is pretty intense, and it takes quite a toll on me. So I've got a lot to do to prepare for it. Preparation is king. Hey, Matt. Hey, Steen, Rich, Dom, Alex. Cool, you guys are all joining at the same time. Nice to see your names pop up. Gang's all here. Thanks, Alex. Yeah, I really like how that came out on Ben Prophet's channel. It was a strange trip. I think I talked about the Portugal trip a little bit on one of the past live streams that we did. It was a strange trip, and that last session was so weird. The waves had some good size, and there were some really nice ones, but it was changing every 20 minutes, and so it was really difficult to get settled into the conditions. Hey, Caro, Leon, Rich. Yeah, it was really hard to get settled into the conditions, and I want to go back there when the tides are not so extreme. And I think it's a really interesting wave to explore. Cool. So Rich got on the water. That sounds good. Good session on Wednesday. Some southwest wind coming. Some north wind again. Cool. North wind, that is... what's the spot you sail for the north wind, Rich? Is that the spot I've seen all those pictures of that looks pretty epic? Those down the line starboard tack sessions. Let me know what day is good. I don't know with the COVID situation if I can drive to the Netherlands or what the deal is. Cara was saying she's going to go up to Denmark. Yeah, I haven't been paying that close attention to the forecast, so you guys are making me realize I need to look at some weather maps. Hey, Mark. Corsica, cool. And next week, Sardinia. That sounds great. Cool. I really, really want to go to Capumanu. That's on my bucket list. Looks amazing. Amazing place to sail. Looks beautiful. I want to hear how it is. So, Steen, can you do a report for the group? I'd love to hear what Capumanu is like. It's one of the places that I really want to go in Europe. There's a few places I haven't been in the windsurfing world that I really want to go to, and Capumanu is one of them. And for some reason, it just has not been convenient to get to, and so I've got to make more of an effort to get there. Looks really cool. What happened to your board, Rich? Ouch. Yeah, Matt, nice job on the looping. Really nice. Really, really nice. Yeah, cool. I'm happy with how that's coming together with all the looping. For you guys who don't know, I'm doing a looping course as well. And yeah, Matt's doing a great job in the course. And it's been a learning process also for me, teaching virtually. So we have pre-recorded videos, we have WhatsApp groups, and figuring out how that works, coaching that way. And there's a few things I'll do differently, a few things that I'll do again the next time. So I'm learning a lot in the process for sure. Richie got laser done in his eyes, so he's not sailing. Ouch. But hopefully then you can see the waves better. I think eyesight can really help to catch good waves. So much of catching good waves is about reading the ocean on the outside, and I think having good eyesight helps with that. I'm not sure for sure completely. You know, I only have one set of eyes and my eyes are fine. But I imagine that it will help with picking waves and reading waves. So hopefully once that heals up, you'll have a better time on the water. Again, let us know. I want to hear, does getting LASIK eye surgery make you a better windsurfer? Right? That's a great question. I want to hear that. So there's a crack in the mast box. Yeah, that's not good. All right. Yeah, so I'm gonna start getting into our posts here. Let me know if everything is working, if you can see everything. I sound okay. And if you're just joining us, let us know if you sailed this week. Well, are you gonna sail next week? And I'm gonna load up this video. Let me get the volume down. Let me make this bigger. So this is from Mark. Yeah, high quality. Well, that's high quality. All right, let's get this playing. These conditions look really fun. Where is most of this shot, Mark? I think you say in the comments, but I'd love to hear it again. Beautiful backdrop. I love just the image of that forward with the cliffs in the background. Do you have any coaching questions with this footage? It's fine if not. I love looking at just some great clips. I love seeing that you're... I want to pause on this image. I love seeing that you're getting the board turned up to get that high five. That's, one of the big things we talk about in the coaching. You guys are all regulars. You've all heard it 1,000 times by now, but it doesn't hurt to say it one more time. That high five is getting the bottom of that board lining up with the power of the wave. So as the lip is throwing, you get that bottom of the board so that connects with the power of the wave to get that high five. And I can see you doing that, right? We don't want the board flat. We want the board so that it's on its edge. The bottom is facing the wave so you can connect with the power of the wave. So some solid pictures, some solid sailing. If you've got some coaching questions, Mark, let me know. Otherwise, we'll just celebrate this. I love seeing, I love seeing these shots, and happy to celebrate it. All right, let's move on then. So John did this post about helmets, which is just an interesting reference if you're looking to buy a helmet. I'm going to do some helmet testing. We talked about this on the last stream, but I haven't done it yet, so I don't have any more updates. Here's a test from Surf Magazine in Germany about helmets that are available for windsurfing. We've got a question from Joao, I hope I'm saying that right, about how to uphaul a low volume board in choppy conditions. And this is a question that's a very good question, and I'm really trusting your answers. This is the kind of question where I don't think I have the best insights because I don't use an uphaul. I haven't used an uphaul for a long time. And so I don't know if I have the best advice about how to uphaul a low volume board in choppy conditions, but you guys do. And so I love reading your responses. So Rory says, get your weight low, back foot between the foot straps, be prepared to transfer weight back and forth between each leg to counteract the tippiness of the board. The lower you go, the easier it is. And so what Rory leaves out, but is implied with this, is your front foot is in front of the mast. So you're straddling the mast. Richie, I'm not a European football aficionado. I enjoy watching football, but I didn't grow up with it, so I don't have any emotions attached to it. It's something fun to do, something fun to watch, but I don't get emotional about it, or even really follow it very closely. I mean, now like with the Euro Cup or the World Cup, yeah, I know what's happening, but otherwise I don't. All right, so then Rory's got another tip. Remove the uphaul rope. It makes it harder to uphaul, but you also get more instant feedback, and it's easier to learn intuitively where the most secure point is to lift the sail from. Maybe best try it on flat water though. So I guess what Rory is saying is you can just uphaul the sail with the mast and from the mast sleeve. And you can definitely do that. It's harder in the surf, for sure. If there are waves or if it's really choppy, that's definitely harder. Maybe that's kind of a good training. Again, it's been so long since I've uphauled. And the only uphauls I've done are this kind that Rory is describing, and only in the last resort situations. And even then, there's a technique we've talked about before on the streams where you can water start in no wind, where you're holding on to the bottom of the sail, the bottom of the mast and the foot of the sail, and you push the sail over the center line of the board, and that weight pulls you over and sort of it's like a counterweight, right? That's pulling you up. And that's what I would do in really light wind. I don't think I could balance on my board just standing on it and try to uphaul. Maybe I could. I don't know. The point is I haven't done it in a very, very long time. So your guys' answers are super valuable in this conversation. So Kevin says he doesn't know if this is the right way, but he just learned it on his own. He positions the sail so the mast is facing forward and has cleared the water. And then it doesn't go too slowly. Move the mast quickly using the uphaul and grab the mast with my forward hand and put some power on it with my backhand. It's a dance. Kevin makes a good point about the positioning of the sail. It's really important when you start that the sail is positioned in a way that then is easy for it to come out of the water. And the way that Kevin describes, I think, is probably the easiest position, where the mast is facing forward, mast is perpendicular to the board. Alex recommends the light wind water start. And again, that's what I would use, or what I do use. Yeah, so Richie's also saying if there's enough wind for me to uphaul, I can water start. Yeah, that's my experience as well. But I also recognize that for some people, uphauling is a key part of the tools that they want to have on their tool belt. Robbie Nash sails with an uphaul, and you'll see him uphauling sometimes. And so there's no shame in having an uphaul, but I didn't grow up sailing that way. I haven't had an uphaul on my rig since I was 12 or something, and Robbie Nash still sails with an uphaul. So again, I'm not saying one is better or different. I'm just saying that I'm not necessarily the best one to answer this conversation. And also that this feedback in here is really valuable. But I would lean towards water starting using a light wind water starting technique more than uphauling. For me, I find that easier, and maybe it's because I'm using smaller boards, and so that small board is really hard to stand on and pull the sail up with, but it's not that hard to get it kind of sunk in the water and then push the mast over to help pull me up, and then I can get up on the board and I'm sinking to my waist, but it's enough that I can balance on the board with the sail. And I've done that in 0 wind, 0 wind, glassy water, where the wind's died. This has happened at Hokipa. I swim to position, so swim where the surfers are lining up to catch the wave, wait for a set to come, do that no wind water start, just balancing there, water up to my waist, and then just try to catch one of the waves, which is nerve-wracking. It's so scary. And you kind of use the sail almost like a paddle to try and get a little bit of movement in the board, and then you have to catch the wave really late because you don't have any speed and you're underwater, so you need a lot of power from the wave to get you going. But anyway, the point is that's the technique I would use rather than uphauling. But anyway, a lot of people do use uphauls. Tristan says letting the clue in the water as long as possible to stabilize everything, or better, easier is learning the low wind water start. So Tristan is sort of seconding what you guys are saying, what I'm saying. Mark is saying it helps if your gear is laid out correctly before you start uphauling. All right, we already talked about this. Again, great tip, Mark. This is very important. Stay low with bent knees. Yeah, so it's really a balancing game. Back foot is between the straps. Start uphauling the sail. If you feel like you're losing balance, just hold it and focus on not falling off, but just focus on balancing. shift your weight around, stay on the center line of the board. So there's a lot of good answers here, and hopefully that helps. And I think most people agree that it would be good to start working on light wind water starts as well. Paul has a question about sailing in Brittany. He's there for a few weeks near Plage de Guidel. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And super interesting. I don't have experience here. Ciao, Richie. Take care. I want to hear how it goes from Paul. And if you guys have any experience with this region, let us know. I mean, I've sailed in Brittany before. I actually didn't Google this. I don't know where this is. I've sailed a bunch of different places in Brittany, but I'm still very far from an expert, so I can't say enough about this season, this time of year there. So I'm looking forward to hearing how it goes for Paul, and then if anyone else has experience of sailing there. So Steen asks, he's at a beautiful flat water spot, but normally not a freestyler. Are there any good moves or techniques to practice on flat water to improve general wave sailing skills? There's a lot of good comments here. Fast tacks really help. Fast tacks are invaluable to getting around a normal wave spot where you've got currents and a lot of things going on, and you want to be able to turn on a dime. Just suddenly you see something, maybe it's a wave coming, and you got to turn around and catch it. And if you can just tack super quickly and confidently, it makes your sailing better. So learning how to consistently fast tack on both sides will improve your wave sailing, period. So that's a great thing to work on. Sailing clue first is also solid. It teaches you a lot about the rig. And those of you who have done my in-person coaching know that I'm a big fan of clue first wave riding. It really helps teach you some different things about waves and the rig and placement. And it opens up your mind to looking at waves in a different way. So if you practice sailing clue first, you'll get more comfortable sailing clue first, obviously, and you can transfer that into riding waves clue first. How do you get into the clue first position? You can just jibe, switch your feet, but don't switch the sail, and then you're going clue first. Or you can duck the sail like you're doing a duck jibe, but don't do a duck jibe. Keep sailing in the same direction you're going. Those two out of Alex's suggestions, I think are the most important. Hey, Jorg, how's it going? Did you sail this week? Then downwind 360s are definitely fun to do, and heli tacks as well. I think they're less applicable to what we do in the waves, but also great to work on. Upwind 360s as well. Duck tacks are fun, and duck tacks are a really good looking move. So if you want to learn a simple, hey H, good to see you. Been a while. Have you been sailing? Duck tacks are a nice freestyle move to work on. But I think, Steen, if you want to work on just a couple things, fast tacks and sailing clue first are two great ones. And then you can just work on feeling your rail. So if you're sailing a flat water spot, I think just feeling that toe side rail and transitioning to the heel side rail. And you don't need to do, in fact, you don't want to do really big S turns on flat water because you don't have the wave pushing back at you. So you're not going to have the same effect as you would have on a wave. But you can practice just feeling your rails, and that will help your awareness. It'll help your connection with the board. It will help you a lot. We got some other good bits of advice about practicing switch stance and stuff like that. Flockas. If you haven't done much freestyle, then the flocka is probably too hard. But it is a great move to help with your wave riding. Dom's got some great tips here about tacking. Again, we already said the better you tack, the better you'll wave ride. So work on your fast tacks, both directions. Also, wide grip drive. I like this. I think this is good. Switch stance, clue first puñeta as training for the Taka is great Taka training. But again, if you haven't done much freestyle, I think that's going to be a stretch. I think that's a stretch. I think you want to be a little comfortable with freestyle before you start doing moves like this. Though that is great flat water training for wave riding, but it's something you want to work up to You want to be able to comfortably Vulcan, maybe Spock before you try something like this. I would say maybe you don't need that, but it's a somewhat advanced freestyle move. And if you haven't done much freestyle, I wouldn't just start with a clue first puñeta. So I think you've got some things to work on. Let us know how it goes. I want to know what you work on. And then when you get to Kapumanu, I want to know what the spot's like, and then what you were doing on flat water that helps your session there. All right, moving on. H, I'm sorry to hear that you haven't been getting wind. You got to come to Tenerife. We're there. I'm there from the 21st of July, but coaching August 1st to the 7th. All right, we've got a video from Mattis about push loops. So his question, let me go back and read the question. Any advice to keep the sail dry and stop the rotation properly? I always land with my back and sail in the water. The spot is hand thumb with side shore winds around 25 knots. Mattis, are you in the chat? Are you in the chat? Because I've got a question for you. Ooh, I don't want that full screen. I just want this bigger. There we go. I've got a question for you, Mattis. And the question is, how long have you been working on push loops? Because these rotations... yeah. H, Tenerife is going to be awesome. Does the wife windsurf? Because I think there's some cool things to learn in Tenerife that you can transfer to other places. All right. Oh, I got to turn the volume off on this. All right. So push loop. So Mattis, my question for you, if you are in the chat, is how long have you been working on this move? Because that will kind of affect how I would coach this. Because if you've been doing this kind of rotation for 5 years, it's going to be a different next step than if you've been doing it for a few months. All right, let's play that in real speed, and then I'll go back and do it in slow motion. So this is a solid push loop with a little bit of over rotation. So let's get into the coaching. I don't know why the quality on these frames isn't good, which I think is a problem with the original video, because these frames, the quality is a lot better. So I don't think it's a problem on my side. I think it's a problem with the way the video is uploaded or shot. It's a shame, because I would like to see this in higher resolution. So Mattis, if you're watching this, maybe you can send it to me, and I'll do a review of it. Let me see if I can flip this around. So I've got a video I'm going to show as a comparison. But I wonder if I can flip it so that it's as if the wind was from the left. This is from Hokipa. Huh. Normally you can flip it horizontal, but it doesn't work for some reason. Anyway, so we're just going to play it like this, and I'm going to play my comparison clip, and then we're going to go back to Mattis's clip. So let me know if you guys can see this or you can't see it. I'm assuming you can. So going off the ramp, heading straight up. And then the feeling that I have in this spot in the rotation, which is one of the key frames of the rotation, is that I'm trying to roll over on top of the sail. I'm trying to roll around the mast on top of the sail. And so my body is doing that flipping, rolling motion, and my arms are trying to bring the sail under me. So you can see that I bring that front hand in close, and then I push it under. So I'm trying to bring that sail under me. And so it comes close to me, and then I push it forward. I push everything forward and up, which is really one of the keys to this rotation. So let's go through and see what the difference is here. So it's really a shame with the quality on this. So Mattis, I might, if you're watching, send me the full footage. I think a link where I can download it, the full quality, and I can do side by side freeze frames, because like this in the Facebook player, it's kind of difficult. But so what Mattis is doing is kind of going up like a back loop, and then once he gets to the top, he starts throwing it around and bringing the sail in front of him, but it's a little bit too late. So I want to see the rotation start earlier and really try and bring that sail under you. So here you're doing it a little bit, but you can do it a lot more forcefully and starting sooner in the rotation. So you can start, for example, about there, trying to really pull the sail under you, and instead of looking over your shoulder like you're doing, you can look more back, sort of like in the classic push loop. Hey, Edwards, in the classic push loop freeze frame that we see all the time in magazines and whatnot, where the head is thrown back, right? Rather than over the shoulder. I've got another video I can show. Oops. This one I can flip. All right, so I'll flip this up. And so then now this should look, Mattis, like your wind direction. And so going up. And the other thing, and I'm going to show this in the comparison footage in a second. So this is super windy, but the dynamics are still kind of the same, where I'm really looking back, not over the shoulder. And then at this point, I'm trying to get the sail under me. I'm trying to roll over the mast, pull the sail under me. I pull that front hand in. I'm pulling with my body, and then I start pushing that sail forward. I'm not sure if you guys can see it as clearly as I can see it, where I'm just really using that front hand and the backhand, but both hands, and it's not just the backhand. The front hand does a lot of work to push that sail forward. So you're driving the sail forward like that, and that stops the rotation, pops you upright like this, and puts you in a really easy position to land. Landing push loops, once you get the rotation down, is so nice. It's just a really soft landing right on the tail. Pop it out, sheet in again, get some wind in the sail. And it's, it's super windy on this day. You can see kind of what's happening in the rotation. All right, let's go back to Facebook, and I want to go through this again. The other thing, Mattis, and this is going to make a big difference. And let's see if your other video has higher quality. Unfortunately, not really. Ah, there it is. Okay, that's a higher quality video now. So the other thing is you want your hands closer together. So you've got your hands moderately wide. I mean, they're not super wide, but if you compare it, for example, to how close my hands are here, like I even slide my hands a little bit forward. You can see that my grip is pretty close together on the push loop, right? You can see here in relation to my harness lines where my hands are. My back hand is not far back. I've got my front hand decently far back. That's just where I feel most comfortable sailing. But you can see that I don't have the backhand really far back. And having the hands closer together will help your rotation feel more comfortable. So this is, again, a different kind of shot. So good entry. I want to see you think about starting this rotation already by this point. And so you're waiting just a little bit too long and starting it like a back loop, where you're kind of rotating through the wind, you're looking over your shoulder, and then you're throwing it at the end. Whereas I want to see you throw it a little bit earlier, a little bit more vertically, and really think about rolling over the mast, getting on top of the sail, and then pushing that sail in front of you. And having a narrower grip will help you do that. It will give you more control, and you'll be able, when you're at this point, to really then do that motion to push that sail under and in front of you. Under, in front of you, and up. So it's like this motion. Does that make sense? So you're coming around, and then you're pulling it under you, pushing in front of you, and up. So here you've kind of stopped pushing, and it looks like you're focusing mainly on the backhand. And so you want to also really use that front hand a lot. So Matt says, you have a great start, right? You're basically doing push loops. So it's a matter of fine tuning it. It'd be great if you can send me these in high quality, and I'll do some shot by shot comparisons. But sort of the key takeaways are, you want to start rotating sooner. You want to throw your head back rather than over your shoulder. You want to think about rolling over the sail, getting that sail under you, and then pushing that sail from under you to in front of you and up. This is something we've gone over before in the coaching, and we'll go over again, I guess, as many times as we need to. So you can see the sail comes here, and I'm really pushing it in front of me, right? In front of me, by in front of me, I mean towards the nose of the board. It's not being pushed towards my toes. It's being pushed towards the nose of the board. And so you can see here that you're sort of pushing the sail out this way towards your toes. You want to really think about pushing it towards the nose of the board. And that involves your front hand a lot. And so this, if we're thinking about key images of the push loop, this is a key image where you're looking back. You've got this front arm pulling in and pulling that sail then under you. And then this is a key image where you're pushing with both hands to push the sail in front of you towards the nose of the board. So those would be the two main key images for you for the push loop. We can watch this one again. This is also from Hokipa. You don't want your grip too wide. And once you get that right technique, they're so easy to land. You just come around right on the tail. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, Matis, I hope that's clear. And if you send me links where I can download this footage in higher definition, because for some reason the Facebook upload is not really working, then I can do some screen shot-by-shot comparisons, which also might help you with those key images. But hopefully what I've said is enough to make you realize what you need to do differently. Just to recap again, you really want to think about this rotation going a little bit sooner, a little bit more vertical, really that you're rotating around the mast and having a narrow grip. Really think about pulling that sail under you and then pushing it forward. And take, one or two of those points and try to implement them. Maybe two points. So take the narrower grip for sure, and then one of these other points. So either rotate sooner, put the head back, think about pulling the sail under you, or think about pushing the sail towards the nose. Maybe pushing the sail towards the nose is where I would start. So if we were doing one-on-one coaching right now, I'd say, okay, you're going to do the exact same thing, but use a narrower grip, and as you're coming out of the rotation, instead of thinking about pushing the sail out in terms of towards your toes, you're thinking of pushing it towards the nose of the board, and so you're bringing it under you, in front of you, and up. And I would focus probably on those two things at first, and then try and let the other stuff come after you've worked on those basic elements. So you're really comfortable going with the narrow grip, and you're really comfortable with that exit feeling. Because even without rotating earlier, if you have the right exit form, like we're talking about, you'll land them cleaner than this. Whereas if you don't have the right exit form and you start rotating earlier and more vertically, you might still be not landing them. So let's work on the exit. And then once you get that exit right, we can start working on some of the earlier parts of the rotation if you want. Or you could just stop there, right? Because your main concern is with the landing. And all the elements come together to make the push loops more reliable, more consistent, easier to do. But for the first things to work on, I would say is make your grip narrower. Don't grip so wide. Even just that will help you a lot. And then really think about not just pushing the sail out and pushing it towards your toes, but you're bringing it under you, in front of you, and up. And you're really using your front hand as well. It's not just about the backhand pushing out. So when you're bringing it in front of you, you're coming, your arm is bent, and then you're pushing that in front of you, and up. And that will help you with the exit. And then you can implement some of the other things that I mentioned as well. All right. I think that is the end of what was posted. No, it's not. We've got this question from Cody. I've seen some questions about footstrap sizing pop up a few times. I've always read any information intently in the hopes of improving my wave game. I recently had a breakthrough that I thought might be worth mentioning. It took a backwards approach. I discovered that having my back foot truly over the center line gave my board the control I needed. Once I knew where my foot should be on the board, then I could figure out how big or small to adjust my foot straps. I ended up making the foot straps much larger than I had been riding. The difference in foot position was only about 1 centimeter, but getting my foot really centered over the board center line made all the difference. Once I had the rear straps set, I adjusted the front foot straps to match. I had been fretting over foot straps for years, but for me, the key turned out to be the foot position relative to the center line. My last few sessions have been night and day improvement in carving and board control. Cody, love to read this. This makes a lot of sense. I love that you're working on your equipment. One of the mantras that I'm always saying is play with your equipment, work on your equipment, get to know it better, experiment. There is no magic setup for anyone. There are some heuristics that you can follow, like for foot straps that you want them narrow and tall. But in general, you need to be playing with your equipment. Make your foot straps bigger, make them tighter, see how it feels, move your mass track, move your foot straps around, change your fins. It will make you a better sailor, not only because if your gear is tuned better, you'll be sailing better. And there's a snowball effect where then the better you're sailing, the better you're doing, the better you improve, et cetera, because you're getting more opportunities, you're getting more turns, all of that. But also just sailing different kinds of equipment will make you better because your body is forced to adjust. You learn different things. Your muscles are learning. So experiment. And the point that Cody brings up is a really good one. If you have your foot centered over the board, you have a lot more control over the board. So yeah, you want that. So I think that's a really good heuristic for your back foot, that you want it centered over the center line of the board. Solid. Thank you, Cody. All right. I think that then is the end, because we talked about this from Axel last week. I've got to add these to the YouTube descriptions, at least this one I haven't done yet. Thank you, Dom. Everyone, thank Dom for doing this work. He puts the time codes of the different topics for the YouTube videos, the live stream. So the live streams become YouTube videos, and then Dom finds these codes and I paste them in there to help anyone who doesn't watch it live to find the topics. And then Fabrice also has set up this document which has a directory. Where is it? It's in here. So there's a coaching directory for all the different topics. So Dom and Fabrice have been working on this. And so you can see, okay, I want to learn about jaws, and then here's a one about jaws, and Anyway, so this is the directive for the coaching. Thank you guys for doing that work. Thank you very much. All right. I think I'm going to call it a night. There's still a few spaces left for my Tenerife coaching in August, starting August 1st, going to the 7th. Message me for details. And otherwise, have a windy, wonderful week. I'll see you guys in the Facebook group. And yeah, have a good football game if you're watching the football game. I think I've got a ton of stuff to do. I've got work to catch up on after my little holiday in Italy. So I'm going to do that tonight. I've got a busy week ahead of me. And I'm going to try to sail. I got to check the forecast. Sounds like you guys are all sailing this week. All right, everyone. Take care. Have a good one. And I'll see you next Sunday.